Who gon' take it there? 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 Electricity, 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 electricity. You know what's in the air. 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 It's possibility. It's possibility. It's possibility. It's possibility.
All right, so Andrew Schulz has been addressing the ICE stuff recently. I think in the past 2 episodes of his podcast, Flagrant, he has mentioned it. And in this most recent one, they went in talking about Preddy and the nature of ICE's operations and talking about the administration from a pretty negative perspective. Also addressing the fact that they did have Trump on the podcast, so people have reason to criticize them for it. Not really saying anything like we shouldn't have done that or we got tricked or we sort of laundered misinformation. It's frustrating with these idiots because it's like just an immutable fact, right? Like Trump had to be propped up and promoted and legitimized and normalized, and then all this stuff that's happening now just had to happen, and it's just kind of wild, man. It's just, I don't know, it's just wild times. So it is good to hear that these guys, particularly Schulz, but just the general tone of this show is turning against Trump, because they are voicing a real critique of him here. And even if it's not, I don't really care about their reputation, his reputation being bad or good. I don't really give a fuck. I know that that's part of the nature of what I'm doing here, but really my concern is how this rhetoric is changing towards Trump. And I do think that there's a shift happening, although just because we're seeing some wavering from people like Schulz and others in the comedy podcast world doesn't mean they're not going to flip-flop. And I'm starting to see how the narratives are going to converge and what the pretense for some of these people to jump back on the Trump narrative train is going to be. So before I get to all that, here's what Schulz had to say about the shooting of Alex Preddy and Renee Good.
All right, let's do it. Let's talk about what happened in Minneapolis. ICE murdered an American citizen in cold blood, and then the Trump administration called him a domestic terrorist.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Like plain and simple.
Yeah.
I see the administration trying to spin it, and it's fucking disgusting. Yeah. It's like they didn't even have a moment where they're like, hey, we're reviewing the footage, we're gonna try to see what's really happening. All of them, Trump and all the cronies, put out collective statements that immediately blamed an American citizen that was exercising his First and Second Amendment rights. First of all, I know we've had Trump on the podcast. I know there's probably people like you guys are the last ones that I want to hear talk about this. I don't think any of us are having this conversation to like curry any like goodwill or, you know, get people to like us or something like that. This is something that is undeniably abhorrent and we should be called out. Simple as that. Yep. Like, it's disgusting.
I get the frustration. People are like, oh, but you guys were with them, da-da-da. Yeah. It's like, yeah, I get it.
100%. I get it. Yeah. Again, if you never want to watch another thing again because we have Trump, that is totally fine. Respect it. I completely get it. You're 100% allowed to be frustrated.
We made that decision knowing it was open to criticism. All right, there it is.
No knock on any criticism. That being said, like moving forward, we don't just like stay silent when something has this. Like if we do have a platform, there's people that we're talking to, you know, and we see something that is just so blatant. There's no like partisan bullshit with this. If you see it with your own eyes, you know exactly what happened. And there's something disgusting that's happening, not only in Minneapolis, I'm sure it's happening in other parts of the United States where it's ICE is under the guise of security, right? Under the guise of safety, because that's what they're doing, right? Is every time something horrific happens, they keep going, but look at the pedophiles we got. Look at the murderers we got. Look at all the violent criminals we got. I looked at the numbers. It's 5% of the people they deported are violent criminals.
Yes.
There's probably more pedophiles in the Oval Office.
Exactly. If you bring up another fucking pedophile about deporting and you're not releasing the Epstein list, just shut the fuck up, all of you.
Yes.
I don't want to hear anything else about, we got to deport the pedophiles. They're right here.
Yeah.
They're right here. They're a list of them, and you're not exposing it. And this is the thing that we've been asking for even before Trump was in office. Yep. Anyway, point being is you see this act, and then you see ICE, and the way that ICE is operating, right, with, I mean, masked guys, no name tags.
Gestapo-ish.
I 100%. Like, I heard people bringing it up, and like sometimes people are trying to go like, oh, you're exaggerating. No. You have to understand. It's like you have a government-enforced militia with no accountability.
Poor training.
Inexperience, poor training. Obviously, you saw from this circumstance, no effort to de-escalate. If anything, efforts to escalate the situation. And Yeah, it's absolutely disgusting. And then when you see the administration defend it, you go, well, where will the accountability ever come from? This is a government-enforced agency, and the government is backing them immediately without even reviewing the tapes, saying that they did nothing wrong. So you have guys that you don't know their names, you don't know what they look like, that the government is backing with impunity. What do you think is going to happen? More of this is going to happen.
How do we get the current administration to stop conducting themselves in the manner that they're doing it right now?
Well, I think that protests is the way to do it. I think you're already seeing them start to back off from it. Like Trump's going to fire, maybe he might fire fucking, he'll.
I think Bovino already got swapped for it.
So Bovino got swapped, Homan's going in, maybe he fires Noam or something. Somebody's going to have to take the fall for it. And I think that he's like, I had a great call with Waltz, the guy who called retarded for the last 3 months. He goes, I had a great call with Waltz and it looks like we're on the same page. But this is the example and the power of respectful protests.
Another thing you do is vote and contest.
That's the other thing. Midterms are coming up. They're going to get absolutely washed in the midterms. If they even try to defend this or continue to defend this and continue these, right, they're going to get. They were already going to get smoked, and it's going to be a fucking bloodbath if this continues. It's not popular.
I mean, this is now conspiracy land, but I'm like, is this a push to be like, hey, this whole country's in disarray, martial law, we got to cancel the midterms, it's corrupt, yada yada.
Oh my God.
I know this is crazy, but I'm like,
I think that would get met with crazy uproar.
yeah, but
he could do it.
This is also going to cause a shutdown, probably. There's
over the ICE funding.
Yeah, there's an ICE funding bill that's going to be pushed through in the next 10 to 15 days, depending on snow and a few other things. And this will probably cause a shutdown. So that will dramatically affect how this administration navigates that.
It's really unfortunate because Trump has this unbelievable ability to take a bipartisan supported issue and make it into a culture war. He's unique in his ability to take something that everybody supports and then make it divide everybody right down the middle. This one isn't even divided down the middle. I feel like most rational people are like, this is fucked up, this got to stop, this is not the America we want to live in. But if he literally just came out and did exactly what he was saying on the pod with us, which was, we're going to deport the criminals. I don't know a single American that would.
All right, so as things have immediately gotten horrible under Trump, a lot of the more rational of the people that were propping him up are jumping ship. A lot of the people who actually make an attempt to think through their arguments are realizing that they can't really defend this very much, and so they're starting to jump ship. This isn't the first you've seen of this. There were whispers of it before, a little bit of a dim awareness that Trump seemed to be going against some of the things that he promised on the campaign trail, or in some cases directly to these guys' faces. But now, with the murder of Americans in the street, there seems to be some genuine recognition that Trump was a mistake, or at very least, that they don't want to be associated with this and what he's doing, and that they made a mistake by associating themselves with him. And one place where I am genuinely seeing some change here, though, is not that long ago, Schulz was saying this isn't our fault. What do you mean? What are you coming after us for? What are you criticizing us for? But now it's, well, look, if you have a problem with us because we had Trump on, I totally understand. That's totally valid. Now, look, it's great that the objective nature of these murders has shocked a lot of people. And it's great that a lot of those same people are also saying that ICE's behavior in general has been bad, rounding people up as opposed to going after violent criminals. It's good that Schulz is pointing out the statistic here that only 5% of the people they've deported have been violent criminals. That means everybody else that they're rounding up is just random people who, in the grand scheme of things, didn't do anything wrong. And so, should these guys be jettisoned from public life and permanently discredited? Yes, they should. Is that what's going to happen? I don't know. Probably not. Maybe not. It depends on how hard things flip in the other direction. And on an individual level, whether these guys get jettisoned is going to depend on how much contrition they show in the meantime. And there are meaningful ways that these voices can contribute to the turning of the tides against the Trump administration. And that's where I want to make a really important case here, because this narrative is in favor of the anti-Trump administration side of things at the moment. And I do think that, for the most part, it's going to stay that way. But there is a divergence of this narrative that's coming, because there was more footage that was released of Preddy where he was essentially 11 days before he was killed by Border Patrol, he got into another altercation with federal agents where he was injured by them. So there's some reporting now that they had his name, that they knew his identity, or at least they had him in some kind of database. He had been entered into it. And so there's footage now of him at this altercation. He kicks out, he spits at these federal agents, and he kicks out their taillight. And that's when they get out and rough him up and throw him against the ground. So what this means is that the right is obviously going to use this to say that he was in fact a violent terrorist, violent criminal. And I don't think most people are going to buy it. But you are going to see whoever wants to stay on the pro-Trump side of all of this is going to go with that. And it's going to cause a divergence here. And so the narrative opposite that also has to evolve, because it's no longer going to work as well to just say, you know, these are just community members and people who were standing on the street and ICE went and roughed them up. It is objectively true that these people are putting themselves in the way of federal agents. They are interfering with what they're doing, in some cases being very abrasive. And it plays better when this is like, you know, they're not doing anything wrong, and they are being completely nonviolent. Also in the case of Renee Good. But the main thing that has turned the narrative against the Trump administration is the fact that they immediately came out and called these people domestic terrorists and immediately jumped on that narrative. And then the evidence that people can see with their eyes does not show that. However, the narrative that is evolving now, and that people like Joe Rogan are jumping on, is that this is an organized, non-organic swell of rebellion that is meant to cause some kind of societal disruption or color revolution, as Joe Rogan calls it. So real quick, let me just play you a very quick clip of something Joe Rogan said about this recently.
There's a lot of people that don't understand what's going on, and why riots only in Minneapolis, and why riots in the place where there's an ungodly amount of fraud that has been discovered.
Coincidentally, right around the same time.
Exactly. Like instantaneously afterwards, the narrative completely changes. Everybody forgets about the fraud. Now all anybody cares about is ICE and fascists and Nazis.
Yeah.
And it's there's a, you know what a color revolution is?
Of course.
And for people that don't, it's a coordinated effort to cause chaos. And this is a very coordinated thing. The idea that this is an organic protest, these riots are organic, is nonsense. It's provably nonsense because now they have access.
All right,
to
so obviously
chats.
Joe Rogan is a fucking idiot, and his use of the term color revolution here is just like absolutely laughable. The idea that there would be a fake revolution in America to oppose the Trump administration, and you would call that a color revolution, especially with this obvious implication that this is like a staged kind of US puppet style color revolution. It's just a historical slop. A color revolution would be like what's going to happen in Venezuela to neutralize whatever the public resistance to what America is doing in Venezuela. That is going to be a color revolution. America's opposition to Venezuela's government is what creates color revolutions, not uprisings in cities that Trump is deliberately sending fucking thousands of soldiers to in order to cause chaos. So that's the manufactured part. And the thing is that they're going to completely miss about this, some of them deliberately, is that these folks are actually not that organized. This idea that this is like a hyper-organized thing that's all super well-funded and coordinated. No, you guys have just provoked this. The left is actually like historically unorganized, like one of the least organized left flanks of any country in history. The American left is starkly immobilized, and only now is it just starting to actually get some momentum going, really just by force of the Trump administration. The American population is so sort of neutralized and slopified that it takes a lot to get people this animated. And the Trump administration, on purpose or just through arrogance, has stoked those flames to now you're getting pushed back to the point where there's like real spontaneous labor action that is happening because of this. And the final point that I want to make here is that what this is becoming about is the police state versus the people. And that's why there's genuinely a little bit of a shift in how people are looking at this, because even some people on the MAGA side or leaning right are looking at this and they're realizing this is not how I want the authorities to behave. And I'm not comfortable making the argument that people, when faced with authorities like this, should just allow it to happen. That's something that people are becoming uncomfortable with. But that final part is the part that people aren't being walked through as much. Because where this gets really uncomfortable is the idea that, yes, these people are putting themselves in dangerous positions by opposing ICE. In some cases, they're being very bold about it. Alex Preddy is being very aggressive. Who knows what happened right before this footage was captured? We know that right before he was shot, he was defending some woman who was being roughed up by ICE. But these are altercations that are happening between the police and the locals. There's no question about it. But what these people are doing, Renee Good, Alex Preddy, many more in Minneapolis and across the country, what they're doing is they're standing up against the police state. These masked troops are putting people in databases, they're tracking people, they're arresting and abusing whoever they want, and they are continually building up their technological capacity to do all of this. So, regardless of where you sit on the political spectrum, pretty much, unless you are just a legitimate fascist and you just want to see fascist consolidation, nobody wants to live in a police state. And people are starting to realize that Trump is creating a police state before us. And the thing that is really important for people to recognize is that Trump is creating this police state on the back of lies about immigration. The reason they are not deporting all these violent criminals that they told you were such a problem is because there aren't that many of those. It was a lie. They told you that lie so that they could build up the capacity of the police state to completely unaccountably arrest, deport, remove, and murder people. That's what they're doing. So I think as the lens kind of zooms out to show that, these are people who are engaged in some cases, pretty aggressive defense of their communities, we should shift our focus to the fact that what these people are doing is opposing the exact type of federal overreach and police overreach that everybody in America has always said that they're against, including the people that voted for Trump. And the reason I say we should shift the focus to that is because people are starting to get it. People are starting to get that ICE and the way Trump is utilizing ICE and other federal agencies is to infringe upon the rights of Americans. They're starting to see that. And Schulz and his buddies mentioned the midterm elections here, and there's some real signs now that they're going to try to do anything they can to interfere with those midterms or try to create this pretense, this false pretense of election interference from Democrats or wherever, so that they can cling on to power. That's what they're going to do. And the problem with these right-wing and right-leaning guys, as earnest as they may want to be about what is now happening, is that they're going to fall for the right-wing shit every time. That's what they're going to do about Alex Preddy too, and about this organized terrorist network. They fall for it. They take the bait, they repeat it like it's true, and that creates the pretense for this horrendous policy that really just infringes on people's rights. And so the point is that what these people on the ground in Minneapolis are doing is they're opposing the police state before it is consolidated. That's why all this is happening so spectacularly, is because they're building their capacity, but they're not at a point of complete repression where you don't even see or hear about these things happening, although there are some cases where you don't. And so that's why this is a very important moment, both because of the labor action that's happening on Friday and the demands that are being made there, either to abolish ICE or remove Stephen Miller. I think amnesty for immigrants, all immigrants, should be another demand on that list. But also, this is a crucial moment where, as they're attempting to build this police state, we the people can demand that it be dismantled. And voices that are starting to realize what's happening, like Andrew Schulz and Tim Dillon, not Joe Rogan, he's gone, but they can start to make noise about the fact that this police state that is being established through ICE needs to be dismantled by abolishing ICE. They've lied to you about the immigration issue. They lied to you about the problem in the first place, and then they lied to you about what they're going to do about it. And then they lied to you about what they are doing about it. So that's out the window. You're not going to get what you wanted out of immigration. It was bullshit fodder that you fell for. But right now is a moment where the police state can be meaningfully opposed. And it's not always going to be like that. Once it is completely established, you're not going to be able to oppose the police state anymore. So now is the time to recognize that you're either on the side of the people or you're on the side of the police state. And if you're willing, because of the pretext of illegal or undocumented immigrants, to throw away the rights of the people, then you are on the side of the fascists and the police state, and you should just say that. But if you're not on that and you don't want to be on the side of the police state, now is the time to distance yourself from the Trump administration, because they're going to keep giving you excuses to get back on board. But it's always going to be in service of constructing the police state. And anybody who does not want to be a part of that and wants to be opposed to that should do exactly what Alex Preddy and Renee Good were doing and get in the streets this Friday.
Me too close to, too much to do. The mission is too crucial. Shout it out from the rooftops until I lose vocals. Who gon' take it there? 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 Electricity, 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 electricity.